Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Send me and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I'm sorry about the absence again, but we've gotten busy with a quiz and the students I teach are not capable of doing any independent work on their own. None. Like they can't do it. You give them something to do for practice and they just start asking a bunch of questions that you've already answered them and they just start asking again. And this is taking time away. This is why I don't even get to reply to comments anymore. Plus, I tried to sync my current YouTube account with my other YouTube account as a backup. I can't do it. And then I can't sync either one with my Odyssey account as a backup. So your man's is struggling. Not just struggling, but struggling with a capital K. Nothing seems to be working. There's absolutely nothing about technology that I find important to this channel that actually works. Nothing. I mean, nothing at all. And no plan I make to give myself more time to upload here regularly that actually works. Nothing works. When I make a foolproof plan, my students and sometimes even colleagues just become bigger fools. But I got just a minute to tell you guys this. You were going to be told, gentlemen, which you have already been told, all of the mother cuss word time. And I mean all of the time, all of it. You were going to be told that no woman that is not black will ever genuinely have an interest in you, and it will only be fetishization. You've been told this before, and you will be told this again. And I had to tell a Muslim brother of mine who's also black, but he's got a whole family, whole black family. But I had to tell him, bro, these Southeast Asian women aren't fetishizing us only. There's an element of that, and that's only because women are just not impressed with most men they see, period. Women are generally picky. They're not always right. I'm not saying they're smart. They're just picky. And so consequently, it takes some sort of fetishization for them to be interested. But that there are actually substantial reasons that some of these Southeast Asian women are interested. They don't want to be just objectified, and they're finding that black men don't just objectify them, whereas these white guys just objectify them. They're finding this out. They're not sure. When is this white guy genuinely interested? When is he not? When is he going to actually show me some respect, and when will he not do so? They're finding this out. They're showing brothers don't get up there and they just get all disrespectful. We could be ignorant. And I don't mean mean and stupid and acting like we got a tail, but I mean we could go there and literally not know some of the ways and customs and cultures. But we don't go to other groups of people with an outright lack of respect and an abundance of disrespect unless we've been told that they're like that with us. And that's never anything we were ever told about Filipinos or other Southeast Asians by extension. So we don't go there with an abundance of disrespect. I mean, if I dropped you off right now without your consent in 3 different places at 3 different times, I didn't tell you I could just teleport and transport your black behind to wherever I decided just to test your reaction. I put you in Southeast Asia. When you realize that that's where you are and they're not disrespecting you, you're going to be neutral to them. When you realize that people there smile if you smile at them first, they smile back, then you're going to start being nicer to them. That's why I say Southeast Asia. I don't even have to specify where. Because that, even though they speak a bunch of different languages in Southeast Asia and got many different religions, that's one thing that generally speaking is a part of their temperament. Even with them buying skin bleach and stuff like that, they don't disrespect you and dehumanize you. If they don't want to marry you, they just don't marry you. They don't ask somebody else why they would. They don't do that. If I dropped your butt off in India, you're going to start acting very, as soon as you realize that's where you are, you're going to already know what you heard about Indians and how they treat black folks. Hell, if I dropped you off in the South and you didn't realize it was the South at first, you would be the one disrespectful, not because you just hate them, but because you wouldn't know the difference between them and the Northern Indians that dislike and dehumanize us. You'd have to realize, wait a minute, I must be in a different part. They actually ain't starting no smoke or fire with me. That's what it's like. I've had to tell some brothers, man, look, sometimes, man, there's an element of fetishization, it's true. But in all honesty, a lot of times these women ain't even about what they heard. They heard that black men are packing, but they also heard that black men are more romantic. Okay, so wait a minute. If he's packed, then he ain't got an inferiority complex about his ding-a-ling, because he packing. And he's also romantic too? So you mean to tell me that the guy that has less reason to feel insecure is also more romantic with me? Oh, okay. Now, granted, a lot of times women will not assess their own men like that. A lot of times women would look at their own men and say, well, if he has all of this, then why is he being romantic? What's wrong with him? And that's a flaw on the part of women in general. But I'm not going to sit up here and lie to y'all and tell y'all that there's only fetishization when non-black women want you and that's all there is. It's not the case. That really generally tends to be the case with black women and non-black men. Across the board tends to be some fetishization. Men that like black women that are not black themselves not only have an element of fetishization, but even when these women are actually their preference, they are under serious pressure to not treat them like a preference. And in a collectivist culture, they will cave in. That's how they are. It's who they are. And that's what's available to sisters, and that's it. Nothing better, just that. What is better are exceptions, but not the rule. And don't let them tell you otherwise. That's why OL's channel never runs out of material about them being mistreated, if not outright done in and wiped out and liquidated by their brads that they chose. That's why this happens. I also want to point one more thing out to you. And then I'm out. I'm done. AC is not wrong for telling you all what he told you. As a black man married to a black woman, happily so, I can tell you that, and as a Muslim who doesn't believe in discriminating on other people's behalf when it comes down to marriage, you can have your own preference and marry within that, but trying to impose that on someone else is not even allowed. And yet I'm telling you that he's not wrong for saying this because he didn't have a choice. One thing about which AC is correct is that the black women that you and I are going to be able to find are enemies. Every black woman ain't an enemy, but you know what? The ones that are not enemies and the ones that are not problems and liability, they know they're not. They're aware of the difference between them and the ratchet stereotype. And once a black woman is no longer the ratchet stereotype, in her mind, she's going to be less available right off the bat, not even because she's not trying to get too high of a body count or for reasons of chastity. No, it's because she can. That's why. Just to be more difficult. And it's not even always about getting not even always about getting more out of you in exchange. It's not even always about that. Oftentimes it's still just about peer pressure. She's not a ratchet. Her friends know she's not a ratchet. She knows she's not a ratchet. They put her under peer pressure. Girl, don't you go being easy and doing what we do, because you better than that. And because of that, she falls victim, not realizing at first that they're telling her, girl, you better than that, because they don't want the competition. And then when she finally realizes that they're telling that because they don't want the competition, she's already internalized some sort of inward ethos of not competing with them. As if to say she shouldn't do that because by competing, she'd be admitting that she's better than them. So they can tell her, oh, you better than that. But she better not think she's better than them. And that's where the trouble comes in. And that's why we got to be such jerks sometimes. We don't want to be, but we don't always have a choice. The worst thing you can do as a brother that's productive and not ratchet is to approach any sister. The productive one, the non-ratchet, and then let alone the ratchet. Because the productive one is going to extract a bigger fee from you, not because of anything they're doing for you, but simply because of a negative default, the ratchet that they have chosen to not be. They're going to extract an extra price. It's not natural, it's artificial. If it was natural, then the extent of it would be natural and we wouldn't be having this conversation. It wouldn't even occur to you or me, but it's artificial, it's exaggerated, and that's why I have to sit up and explain this like this. And they're never going to check themselves. They're never going to stop and say, you know, just for not being a negative stereotype, we're asking too much in exchange. Nope, they're never going to do that. Well, they'll start doing that maybe when they get too old. Then they will. But they got too old. But to start doing that, you know, when they're younger, oh God, no. No. They would never. To start doing that right now when they're young, when their value is at its highest to most men, they wouldn't do it. And that says more about their refusal to see anything worthy in you than it does about whatever they think is their justification. Whatever fake, false justifications they may concoct to explain it. Even when they believe them themselves. Our future is not with the same appearance that we've always had before. And I'm not lamenting that. I've thought about it, but I'm not lamenting that anymore. It's Blasian, more than likely, most likely. And that's a decision that was made by the same ones from whom AC is telling you to refrain from approaching.
No.
Thanks for listening.
There will be darkness. I pray that the ancestors will preserve and protect our tribe and safeguard the past as it was.
Nothing will be as it was ever again. Now, kill him.